Good morning, and welcome to your weekly message from First Congregational Church, Milford, New Hampshire. I'm your pastor, Al Hoyt. Forgive the casual dress, but I just came from having my truck serviced. Today is Thursday, November 11th, Veterans Day. To all of our veterans in the congregation and to all of our veterans in the country, we want to thank you for your service. More about that later. This Sunday coming up is Stewardship Sunday. Our pastoral intern, Cindy DeAndrea, will be preaching. I will not be present because Verna and I are attending the funeral of a dear friend, mentor, and our pastor for well over 20 years who passed away 2 weeks ago. We will be in Plymouth for that worship, for that memorial service. And then we'll be staying in Plymouth and attending worship at our old church to meet the new interim minister. So we won't be here on Sunday, excuse me. On Monday, November 15th, greeting articles are due, right? And Carol struggles sometimes getting people to get their articles in on time. So let's do Carol a favor and do everything in our power to get those articles in by Monday, the 15th of November. Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. in the parish house, the Souhegan Valley Chorus will be rehearsing. Wednesday at 7:30, the Board of Trustees will be having their hybrid meeting. If you're one of those who will be attending that meeting, look for the Zoom link that afternoon. Remember, I never send a Zoom link until the afternoon of the meeting when the meeting is going to be that night. Otherwise, people lose them in their email, and then we have to resend the whole thing. So we send it once in the afternoon, and it'll be there. On Thursday at 7:30 will be choir rehearsal. On Friday, November 9th, is the 233rd anniversary of First Congregational Church. At 6 p.m., there will be a Girl Scout award event in the parish house. Again, that's on Friday the 19th. On Saturday, November 20th, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, there'll be a celebration of life for James Adams at the parish house. Now, we had originally had a all church-wide cleanup day scheduled for this Saturday, the 13th. And because of the weather predictions, they have postponed the cleanup day until the following Saturday, the 20th. So please come down. You can help in many different ways. If you've got leaf removal equipment like blowers or vacuums or one of those, bring those along. There will be tools here to use. Chris Jensen and his crew are going to be working on the leaves outside. There'll be other folks in here working on some other projects in the church itself. So if you've got some time to spend, they're going to start at 9 in the morning on the 20th. So if you've got some time to spend, please come down, join them, and help. So as I was saying, I have been reading a book by Diana Butler Bass called Grateful. It's a very interesting book. And very early on in it, she mentioned something that I found fascinating. And I actually heard on NPR this morning on my way into work. When people thank you for something that you really didn't have a lot to do. For example, when people thank me for my service, I never know how to answer. When I came home, when I was discharged from the Navy in 1976, the war was over. There was a recession going on. Nobody wanted to hear about Vietnam. The war was over, and that was it. They didn't want to hear anything about it. They didn't want to talk to veterans who had been there. As a result, we felt kind of neglected. Some of us, in some cases, we were treated rather poorly. We were called some pretty horrible things. And there were very few people who thanked us for much of anything at that time. I can remember I was interviewing for a job. It took me about 4 or 5 months to get a job when I got out of the Navy because of the combination of the recession and nobody wanted to hire veterans. Well, I was interviewing at a church. I had been a medic and had a fair experience with that. I was interviewing at a hospital. I shan't name the hospital, but I was interviewing at a hospital, and the head nurse who was doing the interviewing says, "Oh, I see on your discharge that you're a Vietnam veteran." And I said, "Yes, that's true." And she said, "So, have you quit using drugs yet? And I'd really like to know, how many people did you kill?" And me being who I am, just looked at her very seriously. I said, "Do you mean today or in general?" Needless to say, I did not get the job. But here I am. Things worked out eventually okay. Um, but when people say thank you for your service, I never know how to respond. There's part of me that wants to yell at them, "Where were you when I got out?" How about just a plain old welcome home? Um, if you listen to Vietnam veterans when they're talking to each other when they meet, they usually either greet or part from each other by saying, "Welcome home, brother." And I think that that's much more poignant and much more meaningful to those of us who were not treated particularly well when we did come home. So, how do we respond to that when someone thanks you for something? Right? In the beginning, in the prologue of the book, she talks about the fact that when she was a little girl, and I can identify with this, and I assume many of you could. My mother was always, when you got a gift at Christmas time, write a thank you card, send a thank you note to whoever sent you the gift. And I hated writing thank you cards, just hated it. I wasn't very good at it, didn't know what to say. Usually, my mother would plunk us all down at the kitchen table with a stack of thank you note cards and say, "Write thank you cards." And the funny part was, is my mother and father were really terrible at it too. So, but I never knew what to say. I never got in the habit of writing thank you cards. Right now, I have a list on my computer of the people who sent me get well cards while I was recuperating. And I have every intention of sending every one of those people a personal thank you for their expression of hope and of healing for me. And I mean to write those thank you cards, but it's one of those things that you put off, like making an appointment for the dentist or something like that. It's just not something that is part of my DNA. Does that mean I'm ungrateful? Does that mean I'm an ingrate? Well, there are those who probably think so, but how we deal with offering gratitude to others really reflects how we feel about receiving gifts from other people. Do we feel like we are obligated to receive the gift? Most of us aren't very good at receiving gifts. And when we say thank you, sometimes it's just, I don't know what else to say. When someone thanks me for my service, I have no idea how to respond to that. Do I say thank you? I mean, my service was 40 years ago. Do I thank you? Or what do I do? And I think a lot of people worry about that. So going forward, think about that a little this week, is how do you express thanks? Not just to the people around you, family members or whatever, but how do you express thanks? This Sunday is Stewardship Sunday, and Stewardship Sunday is an opportunity for us to express our gratitude to the church and to God, the founder of the church, in a meaningful way. And if you're one of those like me who struggles with being grateful and struggles with offering our gratitude, think about your pledge as another way of showing your gratitude to God and to the church for all that the church and God has done for you. And with that, please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Have a wonderful weekend. Verna and I will miss you all. Know that we will be thinking of you, and we will probably watch the worship service at some point on Sunday. Take some time to thank someone, anyone, for something they've done for you, for something they've made you feel. Take some time to be thankful to God. And until we meet again, God bless.